My first photo gig was an absolute learning lesson. So let me tell you about it. So in high school, I took photos with my Canon Rebel, and I was just posting to different photography groups so I could get some feedback and put my photos to practice, right? You need practice to get better. So I was doing that and getting some criticism from Flickr. Fast forward, a author found one of my photos and reached out and said, "Hey, I would love to give you an opportunity to take some photos for my next book cover." High school me was ecstatic and read the message over and over. And before I responded, of course, I talked to my parents because I wasn't sure if it was real or not. And after talking with this person, it was a real opportunity. So I started to work with her and get started on what she wanted for her book cover, what the book was about, and how I could start looking for a model, some ideas, and just get started with this project for this author. At this point, I really was just taking photos for fun. Of course, I was meeting up with some of my friends to do some creative photo shoots and just execute some ideas that we really liked when we were taking photos. But this was a real project, so it needed to be really good. So I talked with one of my friends who fit the model that this author was looking for, and we prepped for the shoot. We got all of our props ready. We did basically a branding session before I knew what that was, and we shot the photos for this book cover. This is where it starts to get good. So when I was doing this photo shoot, I was not very good at Photoshop, and Photoshop was basically one of the only ways that I could actually make this book cover so it looked professional, had all of the titles and things that this author wanted. But what I ended up doing was I executed the photo shoot. It went great. We had way too many pictures, but it gave the author lots to choose from. And then I designed my own cover in Photoshop as a high schooler and delivered the final cover to the author. I thought it looked great. I was really proud of my work, and so was the model. She was super excited to be featured, and I gave it to this client, and the book was published. If you remember earlier, I said this author wanted to provide me an opportunity. Yes, it was an opportunity that I learned a ton from. I'm glad that I got the experience, but first red flag and mistake that I made, I did not make a contract. This was really exposure experience for me, which being in high school, I was willing to do that. I maybe got paid like $50, but I didn't make a contract, which is going to lead to the next thing that really disappointed me. The author replied, they said, "Thank you so much. They love the pictures, they love the cover." And a couple months went by before I really heard anything. And I finally got the proof of where I was credited for this photo. And to my disappointment, the cover that I was credited to designing was not my cover. It was my photo. I did take the photo, but for the digital release of this book, the author decided to just throw one of my photos in a circle frame, put the title on it, and credit me with the cover design. It was not a cover that I would have delivered or that I would have been happy with, but because I didn't make a contract, I couldn't do anything about it. Now, the cover that I designed was used on the first edition that was published of this book, but since then, it's still that old cover that I wasn't really a fan of. So I learned my lesson. I need to always have a contract. I need to always specify what the deliverables are and what the artwork is in the final project. This author did give me an opportunity, and I'm so happy that she did this, but I am disappointed that my name is credited to something that I didn't make. Yes, I took the photo, but it wasn't how I delivered it and how I spent my time in crafting this image and experience for this author. So what did I learn? We always have a contract, whether that's with family, friends, or clients that we work every day with as a marketing virtual assistant. We always have a contract, so we know what is delivered and what our clients know is delivered. We never want to disappoint somebody in what that delivery is, and we want to be able to go back if something would happen like this so that we can call them out on a mistake. I since have moved on. I'm not going to do anything with this project. I know some people say I should argue it, But I learned my lesson. I'm always going to have a contract. I'm always going to specify the deliverables, and I'm going to work with that person and make sure that final product is what I like and what they like when we are working together. As a small business owner, photographer, and virtual assistant, this is super important in our industry. And I would encourage you, even if you're just starting out as a photographer, virtual assistant, whatever, always have a contract that outlines the services that you are providing and what is being delivered in the timeline that you want and the client wants. You don't want to have a mess like this, especially if you're on the other end. You want to make sure that everybody's being communicated to and you know what is going on. What would you have done in this situation? I know there are so many external factors and what ifs if something would have been changed, but we have since made our peace with this, and I would just want to know what you would do. Be sure to drop something in the comments and follow along for more stories and marketing tips. This is Helen here at Brinsfield Studios, and we can't wait to hear what you think, and we'll see you next time.